My high school had each year what we called competitive plays. And what it was is each class would put on basically a half-hour play. And then they would be judged against each other. And they would give out awards at the end, kind of like the Academy Awards. Best play, best actor, best supporting actor, and so forth. And in my freshman year, I tried out for the freshman play. And I have to admit, I was so bad in my tryout that I think if anyone else had tried out for the part, they would have got it. I think even if they came from a different class, it really was that bad. So anyways, I was the only one who tried out for it, so I got the part. The problem was it was actually a pretty important part. And it was a part that was supposed to be really funny. So during the time as I was preparing and practicing the lines, I used my mom a lot to help me to practice my lines. And let's just say it wasn't good. And no matter how much I tried to make the lines funny, I didn't seem to have the timing for it. And my mom tried to be as encouraging as she could, but I could tell it just wasn't good. So the night of the play, we'd gone through all these rehearsals and I had constantly messed up. I either messed up my lines, I messed up my timing, I messed up exactly how I was supposed to be doing it. And I remember as I was going to get out on the stage, I was the only person at the very beginning of the opening scene. And I was getting ready to go out. My classmates were around me and they were like, if you screw this up, we're going to kill you. Well, that really wasn't great confidence building, but I went out, I sat in the chair, the curtains opened up, I was sitting out there alone, and I said my first line, and people started laughing. And I remember thinking in my head in that moment, hey, they're actually laughing. That had never happened before. With my mom, in rehearsals, no one had laughed. And from that point on, things just got better and better and better. To the point, we were only the second freshman class ever to win the competitive plays, and I actually won Best Supporting Actor. My mom was shocked. She was sitting in the audience and she thought herself, I can't believe they're actually laughing. The problem we can fall into many times is we can't always see what our gifts really are, what our gifts can be. Because we have the people around us who sort of have expectations of how things should go in that moment. And when we fail to meet those expectations, we stop being able to see the gifts we have. The reality is, the only expectations we really need to meet are God's. I mean, think about the cross. Everyone thought Jesus dying on the cross was a bad thing. Everyone really thought Jesus needed to change what was happening. But Jesus knew what the gift of the cross was, the resurrection. And he knew he only had to meet the expectations of the Father, and everything would be okay. The same has to be true for us. The one good thing that could come out of this pandemic maybe is to give us the time to just stop and stop listening to the voices around us, even stop listening to the voices in our heads, trying to figure out how we meet other people's expectations. But simply try to discover what God's expectations are for us. And from that, to discover what our real gifts are. And how we make good use of those gifts. When I sat on that stage, as I was waiting for that curtain to open, a little piece of me was terrified. Because I knew I didn't have the ability to make people laugh. And I knew that until the moment they laughed. And then everything changed. What are our gifts? What can we do? What can we accomplish? We really don't know that. But God does. God knows what your gifts are. God knows what your real talents are. God knows what you can accomplish and what that means. Too often we get caught trying to meet expectations that don't match our gifts. To meet expectations that don't allow us to be truly who we are. Let us stop trying to do that. Let us wait for the curtain to open. And let us discover the gifts that are truly ours. God bless.